After over 20 years, Dark Magician is about to be the most competitive it's ever been. Everyone who plays competitive Yu-Gi-Oh knows that Dark Magician is an absolute meme. The deck has been receiving ongoing support, but it's never been good enough to actually be viable in the metagame. Until about now. Believe it or not, we are actually getting some brand new support in the upcoming Rage of the Abyss booster pack, but it's not exactly the Dark Magician support that you would expect. The AZAMINA cards are a new series of support for the existing Sinful Spoils / Snake Eyes archetype that just happens to work really well with Dark Magician because of the fact that Diabellstar the Black Witch is basically a caricature of Dark Magician, sharing the same levels, the stats, the attribute, and the attack and defense. And by splashing the new AZAMINA engine / Sinful Spoils stuff that we have currently, you can actually make Dark Magician competitively viable. There's actually been some Dark Magician decks that are taking down locals in the OCG scene. One went 6-0 and another went 4-0 in a smaller tournament, but still the results are there. You know, these guys are playing against some meta decks, and it proves that Dark Magician actually has some legs. A YouTuber by the name of Black Mana-san actually has some replays of the deck on his channel, so you can definitely check that out. I'll leave a link below in the description. But before we dive in and see what exactly is capable with the new Dark Magician deck, let's break down the AZAMINA card support that's coming out so you guys know exactly what the heck is on the table. So we all know that we have some Sinful Spoils, Snake Eyes stuff that's playable, but the cards that we really want to focus on in the existing card pool is none other than Diabellstar the Black Witch, as well as Wanted Seeker of the Sinful Spoils. Basically, we want to get Diabellstar the Black Witch into rotation because of the fact that we actually get a brand new card called Sinful Spoils Deception, which unlocks a completely new playing field for the deck by giving it the access to an Omni Negate. Sinful Spoils Deception is a continuous spell card that's obviously a Sinful Spoils name, which means it can be set off of Diabellstar the Black Witch upon its trigger summon effect. This card says you can tribute one monster from your hand or field, add one AZAMINA card from your deck to your hand, and then if a monster is sent to your opponent's graveyard while you control an AZAMINA monster, you can actually make your opponent lose 1500 life points, and if you do, gain 1500 life points. So they're literally making new time cards after Lacrima literally just got banned. And we're literally talking a 3000 life point differential if your opponent tries to hand trap you while you have Sinful Spoils Deception on the board. Anyways, the rest of the effect says during the end phase, if this card was in your graveyard because it was sent there this turn from the spell and trap zone, you can set it back to your field so you have some additional follow-up. But obviously, we really care about that first line that allows you to tribute any monster from your hand or field to add an AZAMINA card from your deck to your hand. This is because we can add the brand new card that enables everything to happen called Sacred AZAMINA. Sacred AZAMINA says you can reveal an AZAMINA fusion monster in your extra deck and send one Sinful Spoils card from your hand and or field to the graveyard for every 4 levels a revealed monster has. Then you can special summon that monster and treat it as a fusion summon. And the official ruling for this card is very odd, but you only have to send one single Sinful Spoils card for every 4 levels it has, which means if it's level 5, 6, or 7, you only have to send one single Sinful Spoils card instead of 2. It only has to send 2 if it's level 8 or higher. This means that we can actually fusion summon any of the existing level 6 AZAMINA fusion monsters directly from the extra deck. And because Sinful Spoils Deception actually searches for AZAMINA and sticks around on the table because it's a continuous spell card, that means we can then activate AZAMINA to send the existing Sinful Spoils Deception on the board to the graveyard and then special summon out one of the fusion monsters. And by the way, this effect of Sacred AZAMINA is not actually once per turn, it's infinite number of times per turn. And this is especially relevant because the second effect of Sacred AZAMINA in the graveyard says if this card is in your graveyard, you can target one AZAMINA monster you control or in your graveyard, shuffle it into the deck, and if you do, add this card back to your hand. So after activating this card for the first time, you can then get rid of your fusion monster by linking it away or just having it on the board, shuffle back to the deck, and then use AZAMINA to bring itself back to your hand, which means you can then activate the Sacred AZAMINA to fusion summon again, provided you have another copy of a Sinful Spoils card on the field or in your hand to make usage of. Now, all of this is a lot of text, but it doesn't really tell us anything about why this is so broken until we actually take a look at the existing fusion monsters for the AZAMINA archetype. They have 4 fusion monsters in the archetype, but the ones that we really care about and that are relevant we'll go over, starting off with AZAMINA Mu Arcilago. This card is a level 6 illusion monster that would normally require an illusion monster plus a light spellcaster to fusion summon, but again, we're using Sacred AZAMINA to cheat it out and treat it as a fusion summon, so we do not need to use those materials nor polymerization to fusion summon him. And fun fact, Arcilago is actually a corrupted version of the existing Arcelia Sinister Soul of the White Forest. So these cards are actually corrupted versions of the White Forest monsters, so there's some lore to dig into there. This card has a continuous effect that says monsters your opponent controls loses 500 attack and defense for every AZAMINA monster you control, and if this card is fusion summoned, you can actually add one AZAMINA or Sinful Spoils card from your deck to your hand. So this card can literally search for Wanted directly from your deck, which is absolutely crazy. Previously, there was no way to search for Wanted, but now you actually have a card that can search directly for Wanted or any other Sinful Spoils card in the entire card database. It also has another added benefit where if this card is destroyed by battle or a card effect, you can add a Sinful Spoils spell card from your deck to your hand. So obviously this card is very powerful. How it works is you essentially activate Sinful Spoils Deception, tribute off a monster to search for Sacred AZAMINA, activate AZAMINA, reveal Arcilago from your extra deck, send away the Deception, and then summon out Arcilago. Then you can search for any Sinful Spoils card, including Wanted, to go ahead and grab the Black Witch and then start off your combo, so on and so forth. This is also very relevant because the fact that it's a free body on the board means that if you can link it away, you can then activate Sacred AZAMINA in your graveyard to shuffle back the Arcilago, bring back the AZAMINA back to your hand, and then activate the Sacred AZAMINA again, and then chain the Wanted that you searched off of Arcilago from your deck to search for a copy of Black Witch, and then send that same Wanted on the board off the effect of Sacred AZAMINA. Yes, this actually works because you're going Chain Link 1 AZAMINA effect, Chain Link 2 Wanted, which sticks around on the table because cards are always on the table until the chain resolves, which means you get a free Black Witch search. Then you send off that already used Wanted on the field for Sacred AZAMINA to summon out another fusion monster. Which brings us to the brand new fusion monster that actually makes this entire thing viable and extremely broken. AZAMINA Ria Silvera is a corrupted version of the Silvera, Wolf Tamer of the White Forest, and this card is especially powerful. It's a level 6 illusion monster, just like Arcilago, that also doubles any battle damage your other AZAMINA monsters inflict to your opponent, so it can actually unlock some potential OTK lines just by swinging for massive damage into an empty board. But the part that makes this card especially broken is it says when your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you contribute this card, negate that effect. They're literally printing another Omni Negate for the generic Sinful Spoils / Snake Eyes archetype. It's absolutely crazy. Just when Appaloosa got banned, they now have another way to play under Nibiru or any other hand trap completely. This is an Omni Negate. This is literally Borreload Savage Dragon that can be cheated out off of one single Black Witch or Sinful Spoils Deception plus Sacred AZAMINA. This card also has another effect that when it's destroyed by battle or card effect, you can add a Sinful Spoils trap from your deck to your hand. So obviously Ria Silvera is like the sole card that breaks this entire Sacred AZAMINA support and just makes it crazy. The fact that they've already banned a ton of Omni Negates in the game, like Baron de Fleur, Borreload Savage Dragon, even Appaloosa, but now they just printed a brand new Omni Negate that can be cheated out quite easily, honestly, like in any deck by splashing this package. Just is so crazy to think about. And then the last fusion monster that's somewhat relevant, but is only played typically as one copy, is none other than AZAMINA So Erisictin. Hopefully I pronounced that right. This is also a level 6 illusion monster that allows you to target a card on the field and send it to the graveyard when this card is fusion summoned. So this is basically free removal off of the AZAMINA that allows you to get rid of something. And let's say that you have this card plus Ria Silvera on the board. Well, this card actually has a whopping 2700 attack, which means if you swing directly, that's whopping doubled at 5400 attack directly to your opponent's face. Then during each standby phase, you can actually target an AZAMINA or Sinful Spoils card in your graveyard and add it back to your hand, so it has a lot of follow-up / recursion. All three of these fusion monsters are actually level 6, which means that you can make rank 6s quite easily, but unfortunately Beatrice is banned alongside Lacrima, so I'm not really sure what you can concoct with this, but they definitely made them level 6 for a reason. Thank goodness Beatrice is finally banned in the TCG. Celine the Master Magicians is another amazing card that you definitely want to take advantage of because that allows you to bring back the Black Witch from your graveyard off of the Magician's Souls that can actually send the Debel Star directly from your deck to the graveyard, and then you can set a copy of Sinful Spoils Deception and flip it up and basically full combo. So that's about it for the existing AZAMINA support. Why is this stuff good in Dark Magician? Well, it makes it so you can put an Omni Negate on the board, strengthening your Dark Magician stuff, while also being able to take advantage of the existing Dark Magician support that happens to work very well with Sinful Spoils cards. For example, Magician's Souls. You can send up to 2 Spiral Trap cards from your hand and or field to the graveyard to draw that many cards, and when you play a bunch of Sinful Spoils cards or even Sacred AZAMINA, you can send these away quite easily off of Magician's Souls to draw additional cards. There's also a really cool Sinful Spoils card that no one has really talked about called Sinful Spoils of Doom Arcila. This card has been out for some time now and no one has really regarded it as viable because there were just better options in the pure Snake Eyes deck. but this is a quick play spell card that allows you to target a level 7 or higher spellcaster monster you control, including Dark Magician. You then apply the following effects. While face up, that monster is unaffected by other monster effects this turn, but is sent to the graveyard during the standby phase of the next turn. But more importantly, all monsters your opponent currently controls lose attack equal to the targeted monster's attack. Then, if your opponent's monster's attack becomes 0 by this effect, destroy those monsters. So this is something that can be set up really easily off of Black Witch or Arcilago, and it's basically a Raigeki. When you target either Black Witch or a Dark Magician on your board, you just wipe out your opponent's entire board, and as an added benefit, the monster that you control is unaffected by your opponent's monster effects until your next turn. The existing Dark Magician spell and trap card lineup is also very fluid alongside the Sinful Spoil stuff. For example, Dark Magical Circle or the Magician's Salvation, which allows you to set a copy of Eternal Soul, all of which can be then sent off of something like the Bellstar the Black Witch, and then use the effect to start comboing off. The OCG Dark Magician builds have also incorporated a lone copy of Diabellese, the original Sin Keeper, that can be special summoned off of Sinful Spoil Subduo. Diabellese is a really good floodgate monster against a lot of the existing strategies that make usage of quick play spell cards. For example, Tempai's, which is forced to set the Sengen Kaimin, which means that they're not going to be able to activate it during their turn. Sinful Spoils of Betrayal Silvera is another option that you can set off of Black Witch or search off of Arcilago. This allows you to send a Diabellstar monster from your hand or field to the graveyard, then target a face-up card on the field and negate its effect. So it's a lot like a Hot Red Dragon Archfiend. It's also got a really cool hidden effect in the graveyard that can protect your Diabellstar or Sinful Spoil spell or trap card effect activations. So yeah, that's how the AZAMINA stuff works really well with Dark Magician. There isn't a actual combo that bridges them between each other, but they just happen to mesh very well that the two engines basically coexist as one lone engine. So here's an example of a test hand that we did with the new Dark Magician stuff alongside AZAMINA. We're gonna normal summon out the Magician's Rod and then add a copy of Dark Magical Circle. Gonna activate that, look at the top 3 cards of our deck, and reveal a copy of a Dark Magician to add to our hand. So then we are going to go ahead and activate the Sinful Spoils Deception. Again, this card says you contribute a monster from your hand or your field to add an AZAMINA card from your deck to your hand. So we're gonna go ahead and tribute off the Dark Magician from the hand for free, add a copy of Sacred AZAMINA. AZAMINA can activate and allow you to reveal a copy of an AZAMINA fusion monster in the extra deck. So we'll reveal Arcilago, and then we can send one equivalent Sinful Spoils card, which is 4 levels. So, you know, level 6, we only need to send one to fulfill the 4 levels that it has. And then we summon out the Arcilago. We are going to activate the effect of Arcilago to then search a copy of Wanted, Seeker of Sinful Spoils. So this is actually busted that you can search for Wanted now. And then we are going to go ahead and link these two off, let's say for an IP Masquerena. If you play the Fiendsmith stuff, there's a way to incorporate this in like a bigger deck package. You definitely just go into Moon here and you can pull Fiendsmith combo. So that's definitely another possibility. Otherwise, we are going to activate the copy of Sacred AZAMINA, return the Arcilago, and then add that to our hand. Then we're going to activate the Sacred AZAMINA, chain the effect of Wanted, because you can actually do that. Yeah, the cards remain on the field until the chain resolves. So on the resolving chain, we actually get to send for Sacred AZAMINA after revealing. And we'll actually summon out the Reyes Silvera. So this is the Omni Negate that contributes itself to protect you from basically anything. Now we can activate a copy of Magician's Salvation and place a copy of Eternal Soul. And then that just sets up the Dark Magician being reborn on our opponent's turn alongside the Dark Magical Circle, so we can banish a card on the field. So really, really nice. We will activate the Illusion of Chaos here, just summon out the Magician's Souls, or alternatively, you can dump another copy of Dark Magician, summon it out. That's something you can definitely do as well, depending on what your hand is. Magician's Souls might be relevant if you want to draw cards later, though. Let's say you have other cards in your hand, like spells or traps that you happen to draw into. We will summon out the Diabellstar the Black Witch by sending the Salvation for free, so that's another thing that's just really nice. You can send stuff for free that's set off of the Dark Magician cards. You can either set a card like Severa for an Omni Negate, like the Solemn Judgment-esque effect, Hot Red effect, or you can set something like the Sinful Spoils of Doom, the Arcila, that can pop your opponent's entire field, so that's definitely an option. And then from there, you can actually banish Wanted to then shuffle back the Deception if you don't want to set it on the table for follow-up, so you can draw into another card, potentially a hand trap or a spell trap that can be sent off of Magician's Souls. This is like already a pretty threatening board. I mean, we have IP Masquerena into SP for double disruption. We have the Silvera for negate any face-up card. Eternal Soul can come back for the Dark Magician, banish a card off of Circle. That's 3 to 4 interruptions. Plus the Rio Silvera is an Omni Negate. That's already like 4 to 5, plus any hand traps that you have, right, on top of that. So it's really, really threatening board just off of one Dark Magician hand. And I don't think Dark Magician has ever been capable of doing anything remotely close to this. So yeah, that's it for the new AZAMINA stuff alongside Dark Magician. I saw this in the OCG and I thought it would be really cool to actually test this out in the TCG. So I wanted to throw the idea out there. What do you guys think? Are you Dark Magician fanatics? Do you think the deck is actually competitive enough to be tier 2 or maybe even better and do well, let's say at like a locals or a regionals, maybe even a YCS? Let us know in the comments below. Other than that, thanks a lot for checking out the channel and I'll see you guys next video. Bye-bye.